Hey guys, welcome in to episode number 98, NFL Divisional Playoff Rounds. We got another set of fantastic games this week, Jeff. We got some interesting games this weekend, but before we get into that, we're going to jump into some games that happened last week and kind of see maybe where we went wrong on our predictions, um, and go from there. But tell you what, Jeff, that cold weather has hit Texas the last couple days. It has been freezing in Texas.
Yeah. We've had sleet, I think snow. I think it was 20 degrees when I woke up today. Probably felt like less. So, but I like it. I like the weather this time of year. You know, it's that kind of crisp winter weather. It's playoff weather, man.
Yeah, as we'll see that tonight, the Green Bay Packers. I think the starting temperature is like 2 degrees, so it's going to be pretty intense there. But all right, Jeff. Well, let's jump into last week's games here. We were so excited and set up for some good football. The first game of the week was our first game last Saturday was the Raiders and Bengals. We both selected the Bengals to win, and the Bengals got the job done. And this one was really good. It came down to the Raiders driving down with the final seconds on the clock before eventually Derek Carr threw an interception at the 1 yard line to kind of wrap it up there. And the Bengals stayed pretty hot, and the Raiders fought like we knew they would, but we called that one right there. So
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, and I just it's surprising to see Joe Burrow to kind of coming into his own, making a legacy for himself. And kind of you're seeing a quarterback. I would say out of the draft class, this is the quarterback that I think should be being paid attention to a little bit more. Mainly because, I mean, he had a devastating injury last year, but you're finally starting to see the fruits of labor. And I think this is going to be somebody we talk about in not to jump to conclusions, but this could be somebody that we talk about down the road of like, oh, okay, this is in the realm of a Mahomes. This is in the realm of uh, a great player that will continue to be great, very much like Rodgers, Brady, maybe not to the degree of Brady, but it's because that's difficult to replicate. But I mean, in that same realm, like when we think of Russell Wilson, when we think of Aaron Rodgers, when we think of those kind of players, I think we're starting to see a little bit of that with Joe Burrow, mainly because he is having a little bit of some success in the playoffs already. He's only been in the league for 2 years, so this is exciting. It's fun to watch.
oh, it definitely is, and I love me some Joe Burrow and the Bengals who has not been very good, and you know they put some weapons around him. They've got a solid wide receiving crew. They've got a decent defense. So Joe Burrow's playing lights out right now, and his confidence is fantastic for such a young player. They talked about it last week. They interviewed him after the game, and they were talking about hey, you won, congratulations, this is big. And he's like, yeah, it was good, but we're moving on to next week. And I think he has the right mentality, and that's the kind you got to get. They haven't met their goal yet, right? They those expectations are Super Bowl, and so I like his mentality. I like his confidence that he's playing with right now, and they move forward there. So we predicted that one right. The game after that, Jeff, was um, the Bills and Patriots, and this is a game that we completely got wrong on, Jeff. We projected the Patriots to upset the Bills, mainly for me because the Bills weren't playing up to their potential. The Bills all season long continued to struggle. We saw them make great strides last season, and we didn't see that this year, right? So I just thought with the Patriots defense and Mac Jones doing enough not to lose the ball game, we would have saw Patriots win. But the Bills came in, punched the Patriots in the mouth. Bill Belichick Bill Belichick team did not look like they were ready to play in the cold weather, and the Bills get the victory. And the way they played, they look like they could beat anybody at this moment if they play that way going forward.
Yeah. This is one of those kind of surprise games. There's a few of them during this early round of first round of the playoffs, and this was definitely one of them. It was shocking to see because Bill Belichick, it's a Bill Belichick team. I just am shocked to see an offense completely manhandle a defense that Bill Belichick is running. I don't know what was going on there. Maybe it was familiarity. Maybe it was they just had a better game plan. And it just seems like maybe we are starting to see an era in Patriot history where they're not as good as we thought. And again, it's still early in the career of their quarterback and still figuring out who he is and developing game plans and stuff to fit him. And obviously, for Belichick to continue to build this defense like it used to be. But it's just it's surprising. And a lot of people they're starting to see the era is over a little bit. So,
well, and I don't know. I don't know if I see that just because. Last year, so everyone talks about the Brady versus Belichick, and Brady went on to win the Super Bowl, and Belichick did nothing. Well, Belichick didn't have a quarterback. He had Cam Newton. Okay, he's got a decent quarterback. No one expected much out of him this season.
Mm-hmm.
At one point, they were the number. They were the number one, almost the number one seed in the AFC, and then they lost a couple games and they fell. My expectations for the Patriots this season was nothing. They exceeded those for me. Now, Patriots fans and the organization doesn't feel that way because they're used to winning Super Bowls, right? But kudos to them. I think the way they went out is pretty embarrassing, but
yeah,
they made the playoffs. I didn't expect that, so
yeah, and I think it's something that they'll build upon going into next season. I think that I don't see them regressing. So I do think the Patriots will be in the playoffs next year. I just don't. I think we need to now come to grips with the fact that it might be that they get to the playoffs, maybe they don't win, maybe they lose close, or they get to the playoffs, they get past first round, and then they kind of hit a wall. And I think that's kind of maybe who this team is right now. What happened with Tom Brady was an anomaly, and I don't think it's so difficult to say, oh no, they can replicate that, because it's not. You can't. So it was just a perfect place, perfect time for Tom Brady and also Bill Belichick. Not to say that either or is better than the other. Bill Belichick's an amazing coach. We know that, because you still have to coach. And then Tom Brady still had to play. And so I think both complemented each other amazingly, and that's why you got the success that they had. If it wasn't for, if he would just got some random quarterback, I don't think we would have seen the success. It just happened to be the perfect place, perfect time, perfect people.
right.
So
Right.
yeah,
And
I think they'll be all right. I just think that maybe this is a team where you're going to see some struggles to get to the point of maybe where they were before, and there may be a stopgap few seasons where it's like they can't seem to get past round one, round two, and then maybe in the next 3 or 4 years, I could see this team being a different team and maybe even being a competitor for easily the AFC Championship.
Right, you gotta wonder, that argument of I can't stand the argument of who was better, Bill or Brady, and then, like I said, they complement each other really well, and that's why they had success. Bill Belichick and Tom Brady, and
Peanut butter and jelly.
right? And the Patriots' expectations and they've got to lower them a little bit because you're not going to come in with the next quarterback and win 7 rings. That's not going to happen ever again. I don't think we'll ever see that in any sport ever again. But
yeah.
All right, Jeff. Well, we jumped to Sunday's games last week. The first game was abysmal. Bucks win 31-15. Nothing to talk about. We predicted this. It was crappy. We knew the Bucks were going to win. It's basically a freebie. The Eagles suck.
Yeah. I don't even know if I put it. I don't even think I put a score on it. So
the next game, Jeff, was the Dallas Cowboys and the 49ers, probably the most anticipated round one game of the playoffs. Cowboys choke it away. Look, the 49ers are a tough 6th seed. I'm not going to sit here and say they're not, right? But this is the Cowboys. They talked about all year how they were Super Bowl bound. This is their year, okay? I labeled them as contenders. I was wrong. Jeff, you labeled them as the coin flip Cowboys, and you were right. And I told my buddy Ryan Sims the other day, I do not care if the Cowboys go 16-1 next year. They are not contenders until they prove it in the playoffs. I am not believing this. They're contenders, not doing it. They come into this game, they start off slow. They had the worst start that they could have had, except turning over the football, right? They
Mhm.
they they kick the ball to 49ers. The 49ers drive it down their throat and score a touchdown. Dak Prescott gets it. They go 3-and-out. They punt the ball away. The 49ers kick a field goal. Next thing you know, Dallas Cowboys are down 10-0. It's like, oh, this is the worst start you could have had against this team. They just they did not look good. They did not look good. And there's something there, something with the head coach. I think McCarthy needs to be fired. We're still going to find out if that's going to happen. Jerry Jones did not sound very happy when he came on the radio the other day. But I will leave this to you, Jeff, and tell us a little bit what you want to say to those Dallas Cowboy fans out there.
Be realistic with your team. That's the only thing. I never came into this season thinking the Denver Broncos were going to do anything. You want to know why? Because I didn't expect them to. If you sit there and you expect nothing, you will be surprised. I've seen it with a few teams that I've followed. I've seen it with, I mean, there was a moment where when Tim Tebow was the quarterback of the Broncos, I didn't expect anything. I looked at it like, oh, we're not gonna don't expect playoffs, don't expect anything. We came in there and we knocked off the Steelers in overtime on a Demaryius Thomas walk off touchdown, home run.
Well, yeah.
And so yeah, I mean, and I was surprised. Did I think we were doing anything after that? No. No. I knew we weren't. I knew we were going to run into the buzzsaw that is the New England Patriots. I was like, this is a ceiling. That's it. If we got past the New England Patriots, I would go, okay, I'm not expecting this. If we got to the next round, I'm not expecting this, and I look at it this way. Sports are weird. At any moment, you could get knocked off at any time. It doesn't matter how good you are. It doesn't matter how many players you have that are on that are quote unquote, on paper champs. On paper, these are Pro Bowl guys. On paper, like you gotta have a little bit of humility and go, you know what? We're gonna win the division. Great. We're gonna get to the playoffs. Sure. But I'm not gonna sit there and go, we're going to the Super Bowl this year. We're going all the way to the NFC Championship game. We're going all the way to compete in a Super Bowl. Like, stop doing that. Be a little realistic and go, you know what? Take it how fans want teams to take it game by game. You hear it after wins sometimes. We're 1-0. And then the next game we're going to be 0-0. And take it like players take it. If a fan takes it like that, then you're not sitting there and going, oh, I said we were going to the NFC Championship game. I said we were going to the Super Bowl. Like, stop. It's that mentality, that cowboy mentality of years. I'm a Yankee fan. I know what that's like. I know what it's like to be a fan. It's like, look at all these championships. Look at all this greatness. We need to be going constantly, blah, 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 blah. Brian knows it. He's a Laker fan. Brian knows it. He knows what it's like. But you got to have that sense of humility and go, you know what? Sometimes we continue to keep getting in our way. And if we continue to keep getting in our way, I can't expect anything from this team until they show me otherwise. So that's all. Is it a coaching problem? Who knows? Is it a player problem? Who knows? Is it a problem because you got this sense of I got the star on me, so now we are the triplets. Now we are, the legends of yore, so to speak, of Emmitt Smith and Michael Irvin and Deion Sanders and Troy Aikman. Stop living with that. And I think the players do it. I think the players look at it and they have that star and they think, okay, we're the next duo, right? Dak Prescott and Zeke, we're the next. And you cannot be your own. And when you go in there with that diva mentality, that oh, we're gonna take it to the house. I understand being confident, but you're setting yourself up for I'm not. This team's nothing. 49ers, we're going to go in here and whoop them. No question asked. Look at the Denver Broncos. Oh, look, they're horrible. They don't even have a quarterback. Like, and then you get beat in your home by a team that doesn't even deserve to even be in there and really beat you. And I'm talking from a Bronco fan. That's what the Broncos did in their house. Stop doing that. It's just, it gets to a point where it's nauseating, and you wonder why people like Stephen A. Smith laugh, because the fan base makes him laugh. The fan base sits there and makes that happen. You hate him so bad because he trolls you so much, but stop acting like that and he will stop trolling.
I can't stand Stephen A. or Skip Bayless, but
I'm telling you,
it is
you have
hilarious
people like
when
Skip
you say,
Bayless, you have people on freaking, YouTube like Mark Holmes, these people who like to feed even like D-Law Nation. That's another one. Like, you have these people that feed this mentality of we are going every year. Stop listening to these people. Listen to some people that are realistic. Listen to some people who are going to actually tell you, you know what? This team isn't as good as you think.
oh, it's funny. It's funny when Stephen A. Smith, I saw a couple clips of him just laughing so bad. I'm like, oh my
Yeah.
gosh. Look, Jeff,
It's just ridiculous, because I understand it, but Cowboy fans need to come to the realization this team has not been successful for a very long time. It's kind of like the Browns thinking they're going somewhere every year. They haven't been successful enough. Show us something. Have some sense of like, I'm not going to say anything. Honestly, I'm not going to say anything good about this team until they show me otherwise, until they can get in the playoffs, win a couple of games, and get to an NFC championship game. Let's do that. And then we can have the conversation that maybe this 26-year of mediocrity is finally over. But until then, what am I going to say? Am I going to sit there and say oh, the Eagles turned it around because they won one championship game? Well, obviously not. Obviously not. They fired their coach. And take a look at even the Giants in your own division. They won 2 championships with Eli Manning. Look at them now. And they know. And again, that's what I'm talking about. The Cowboys in that division has been the least successful in the last 26 years. The least successful. And we laugh at the Eagles, and we laugh at the Giants, and we make fun, but ultimately, those two teams won 3 Super Bowls in that span that the Cowboys have done nothing. You can't argue.
Well, I'm not going to. I don't want to sit here and talk crap because my team has to show up and win tonight.
I'm not talking crap.
No, I know. No, no, no.
I'm
I
just
know.
saying a
I'm
little
not.
bit of. I'm just saying a little bit of facts here.
I'm not.
There's
I'm not.
always. I don't like the excuses either. That's the only other thing. Cowboy fans, they like to point fingers at the refs, point fingers at this, point fingers at the coach, point fingers at the players. Because I'm gonna reiterate something that Michael Irvin said on the show of First Take, which again I watch because I want to know perspective. Michael Irvin gives you a different perspective than Stephen A. Smith, so you got to understand that's your guy saying this, not Stephen A. Smith. He said players have to play. At the end of the day, players have to play. Dak Prescott's quarterback IQ in that particular situation when that clock was going down was off. And what do great quarterbacks do? They decide, you know what? This play won't work in this situation. I'm going to change this play because I'm seeing something different. If Dak had changed that play up and did something a little different, maybe the outcome would have been different. We don't know. They had multiple opportunities. But again, in the end, players have to play. Mental mistakes, that's on players still. As much as it's coaching, it's also on players. You're on the field. You got to have some responsibility to that. It cannot be always coach, owner, refs. Eventually, it's got to be Zeke, Dak, the O-line, defense, Gregory hugging people. It's got to be Eventually, you got to start giving some blame to the players. Brian does it. He sits there and says that last year they lost in the playoffs because Aaron Rodgers screwed up. That's on the player. I mean, that's all I got to say about it. It's just I hear a lot of crazy talk, people throwing water bottles at referees. That was completely uncalled for. It was not. There were so many more elements to that than just the refs, and you cannot continuously just blame everyone and not finally come to grips and say, you know what, Dak, you didn't do it right. You know what, Zeke, you haven't been great. Whether you were injured or not is besides the point. Pollard wasn't injured, and he still didn't do anything. The O-line had problems. There were tons of penalties, and there were penalties on defense. There's so many more elements to that. Eventually, you got to start blaming some players.
I didn't mean like when I said talking crap. I didn't mean you were talking crap. I just mean I didn't want to come on. I didn't want to get on and throw more on them because my team has to show up and beat the 49ers tonight. But I will tell you this, Jeff. You're exactly right with that game by game mentality. And I've known. My team's made 4 NFC championship games, and we've choked them. We've lost, right? Last year, I told myself after we had the number 1 scoring offense in the league, I said, this is our year. This is it. We're going. I feel so much confidence in this team. What do? We choked it away against Tampa Bay. I came in with little expectation this season. Always having Aaron Rodgers, you're going to have a good chance. But I said, I'm lowering my expectations. And every time I'm like, oh, man, we could do it. I'm one game at a time. One game at a time. We've seen upsets this playoffs. We've seen the Patriots get dismantled. We've seen the Cowboys choke it away. And it is one game at a time, and that's the right mentality to have.
And that's what when the Broncos went to Super Bowl I got overconfident when they went and played against Seahawks. I was like, man, there's nothing. We're gonna this is easy. Come on. And we got murdered. And that was a moment where I was like, you know what, I can't do that.
Yeah.
I can't do that. So when Super Bowl 50 came around, I was like, my dad called me the first round, and he was like, so what are the Broncos gonna do? I'm like, I don't know, Dad. I don't know. We got to go through the Patriots. That's always, I don't know. I know we're playing at home, which is good. Broncos fought hard to get that. I wouldn't have trusted us playing at Foxborough. But it's just like, I'm taking it game by game. Like, we get to this first part, we win, great. Let's move on. Let's get to the next opponent. Let's just continue this role. When we played the Patriots, I was like, this is it. This is the make or break moment right here. Who are we? And we beat them. We beat them. We absolutely dismantled the Patriots. Tom Brady struggled the whole game. And I was like, okay. And then going into that Super Bowl, it was constant Cam Newton. Cam Newton's going to take him down. Cam Newton, everyone picked him. Cam Newton, oh, he's going to take him. He's Superman. Like, okay. There's no kryptonite. It's like, okay. And so then when we went in that game, my dad said, what do he goes, Broncos probably going to lose, right? I'm like, that's what they say. We'll see. I'm not going to sit here and say that we're not going to lose because I've seen them do it. I'm not going to sit here and say that we're going to win because I haven't seen them do it. So, like, I'm going to watch it. I'm going to analyze it. Whatever the outcome is, win or lose, it's going to suck if we lose. But if we win, I wasn't expecting it. That's how I got to go through it. It's just it sucks because you want to be excited. The excitement comes when you win. That's when the excitement comes. That's when you go, everyone doubted us. Everyone sat there and just said we weren't going to do this. And that's exactly when the Broncos won. That's exactly what I said. I said, everyone doubted us. Everyone put us down. Everyone talked about Cam Newton. Everyone can just take it and put it where the sun doesn't shine. Because no one called us. No one said that we were going to take this game. So that's when, if I ever want to hear any more talk from the Cowboy fans, that's when I want to hear it. I want to hear it when you win. I want to hear it when you go to a Super Bowl win. Then I hear it. Then I want to hear it. Because that's when I'll listen to it and I'll go, you're right. You're right. They were the best team.
Yeah, Jeff, and one thing that Michael Irvin said too the other day was that you've got to have stars playing like stars. They had role players out here trying to be stars. CD Lamb looked bad. Amari Cooper looked bad. That they had no rushing attack in this game. Zeke was out. Zeke, they came out right after the game and said he had a torn MCL. Tony Pollard sucked. Dak Prescott looked off. This was the second half Cowboys that we've seen. That
Yep.
Oh, they dominated. They almost beat Tampa Bay. Oh my gosh, this team could go to the Super Bowl. It's like, what? Let's just chill out here, Dallas Cowboy fans. There's a lot coming this offseason. We don't know if head coach McCarthy's going to be gone.
Yep.
There's rumor that Dan Quinn's already Denver Broncos head coach. Will you keep Kellen Moore? How mad is Jerry Jones? There's a lot of questions about who you're going to keep and all this good stuff coming up. But
it's going to be an interesting time offseason for Cowboy fans. This one hurt them. I know it did. But you've got to have some kind of expectation and hold them in check. Hold the expectations in check. Get through the season.
You've got to have, I talk about it all the time. You've got to have the right expectations. You got to know your expectations, and
like
they can't be too high.
Yeah,
like they always are for Cowboys fans.
Even this year, my dad was like, "Yeah, well, the Broncos aren't going to go anywhere." I'm like, I'm not expecting them to.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest, Dad. I'm not going to sit there and the Broncos at one point were on a roll, and I'm like, I don't know. I don't know. Like they were like, oh, they have an opportunity. If they win X number of games, and then okay, if we make the playoffs, whatever. Like great. I don't expect anything, but great. And so it's just, I get it. It's exciting, but get through the season. It's just football. There's a lot of weird stuff, a lot of weird stuff happened this year. Patrick Mahomes hadn't looked like Patrick Mahomes. Who predicted that? Nobody. Right? Patriots got dismantled by the Bills against a team that at one point in the season they threw three passes against and beat them. You got to understand, it's a weird game. It's a weird sport. It's so different when it comes to playoffs because it's one and done. This isn't the NFL. This isn't basketball where it's like, we can MLB. Lose. Who cares? We got more games to play. And so it's just take it game by game and understand.
Great Cowboy fans, listen here, okay? If Aaron Rodgers leaves Green Bay next year or when he leaves, whatever, you'll hear what managing your expectations will look like, because I guarantee you next year my expectations will go from here, Jeff, from here to nothing, not even on the board without Aaron Rodgers. So I'll teach you how to manage those expectations. All right, Jeff. All right. We'll jump in the next two games. The last game was the last game Sunday night was the Chiefs Steelers. Pathetic game. Not even the Steelers shouldn't have even been allowed in the playoffs. Then you have the Rams and Cardinals, Jeff. Monday Night Football, and this was a game that I thought was going to be closer. I expected the Rams to win. And actually, Jeff, real quick, you chose the 49ers to win. I chose the Cowboys to win. You were right. I was wrong on that last one. We both chose the Chiefs to win. We were right. And we both chose the Rams to win. We were right. The Cardinals were pathetic. Pathetic. You put up 11 points. Kyle Murray had like 130 yards passing. Pathetic. What was that? That you didn't even show up. This game, I was like, man, okay. I could see the Cardinals winning if they showed up. I could see how they might win. This is going to be a close game, in my opinion. They're division rivals, and the Cardinals didn't even show up. 34-11. You lose by 23 points. This, Jeff, I don't know about you. We talked about the Browns being the biggest disappointment in the NFL this year with the expectations that we had set for them. But the Cardinals, to start off 7-0, be like the only undefeated team, to go out this way and fall off the second half of the season and fall out of first place and lose fall out of winning your division to losing in the first round has got to be a big disappointing blow for the Arizona Cardinals.
I don't know if I think this is a lot to do with the fact that maybe people are figuring out Kyle Murray, and understanding like his antics and little things that he does that kind of gives away his, and that just I think some of that is just I think they can fix that over the off season. I think if they continue to build off of the success of Kyle Murray, I think he's a great quarterback. I don't think that he's horrible. I just think they need to come up with a better scheme for him. This team wasn't bad. It's just I think it got to a point where maybe he relied on somebody a little too much, and that person was taken away, and they weren't the same since. So it kind of maybe limited the playbook a little bit, limited the weapons that they have. I would actually be not surprised if they are very aggressive in free agency this year. Trying to grab a couple of weapons to put in there, bolster up that offense. I think the defense is decent. I mean, maybe they'll have a couple of people from the draft in there or whatever. But because I think the defense and the draft class and defense wise might be deep. But yeah, something was wrong. I think that scheme wise they were found out and they didn't change it. And so we kind of saw a lot of struggling going on. And then obviously relying on somebody. It's no different than a team relying on the number one running back and the running back gets hurt. Then that team's in trouble, usually, for the most part. So I think maybe Kyler Murray was relying on his number one wide receiver, and number one wide receiver gets injured. You got a lot of problems. They also had a lot of injuries. They had a lot of injuries in that Cowboy game. I don't know what was going on, but it seemed like there was some not Cowboy game. Well, maybe it was a Cowboy game, but it seemed like there was some injury, quite a bit of injuries that happened on that team down the stretch. That also affected them too. But I could see them being huge players in the free agent market to bolster up that team because I don't think they're horrible.
Well, I think they exceeded my expectations this year. I didn't have much in expectations this season for them. You know, me and you predicted the Rams to win that division, and they did. The biggest thing is one. Me and Ryan talked about it a couple weeks ago. We both think Kyle Murray's a little overrated. We don't think he's as good as a lot of people think he is. Now he's decent. I'm not saying he's bad. I just don't know if he's that great. But Cliff Kingsbury, Jeff, even going to his college days, they always start off on fire, start off with a good record, and then the second half they fall apart. And we've seen it here yet again. And has he done enough to keep his job? Last season he was going off of he was on the hot seat going into this next year. What he's done this season will probably be enough to not lose his job, but they've got to see progression from here. I think if they come out next year and they don't make the playoffs and they struggle, I think Cliff Kingsbury will be gone. We want to see that progression from here. You want to see him win the division maybe and get a higher seed and win the first round playoff game. But I think this is a good measuring stick year for them to see what they can do. And if they don't fall apart at the second half, who knows? They might be the number one seed, So, well, all right, Jeff, those were last week's games. This weekend, Jeff, let's jump into the headline of the week here, or the divisional round games.
All right.
Oh, man, Jeff. These 4 freaking games could be the best 4 games you'll watch all season long. And this is exactly what the NFL wants, Jeff. Fantastic games. First of all, today on Saturday, we have, starting out 3:30, the Bengals and the Titans. Now, this threw off my board with the Bills winning. So instead of the Bengals going to face the Chiefs, they jump over and face the Tennessee Titans. Derrick Henry's back, full strength. They're saying he looks better as he's more healthier now than he would have if he played a whole season and coming into this game. The Tennessee Titans have played really well this season without Derrick Henry. That's really impressed me. Without their number one player, they've got the job done. Have they been blowing out teams? No. They did some, but have they been that impressive? Blowing out here, blowing out there? No, but they're getting the job done, winning games. The Bengals. Joe Burrow's been the most impressive quarterback the last month of the year, throwing back-to-back 400-yard games.
Mm-hmm.
He came out last week and led the Bengals to the first playoff game in 31 years. This one's tough.
Yeah.
These last 4 games really, Jeff, are kind of a coin flip. Except one, but anyways, hopefully. Anyways, I want to go with the Bengals here. I want to jump on Joe Burrow. Let's jump Burrow. But I got Tennessee winning this one, Jeff.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I think overall, Derrick Henry back. He's going to ground and pound. They're going to control the clock. It's going to open up Tannehill's passing game. They have their wide receivers are healthy. The defense of Tennessee has been really well and really good this year. I think they're going to put pressure on Joe Burrow. I think he's going to turn the ball over a couple times, which he's known to turn over the ball. I think he led the league in interceptions or was really high this year on that. I have Tennessee winning this game. I think it's going to be a 34-31 battle. But I think the head coaching experience of Vrabel gets the job done in Tennessee today.
I'm gonna have to go with Tennessee. Here's the thing. Here's the deal. We already know what playoff football is. Playoff football is very ground and pound. Very ground and pound. Now Tennessee hasn't had their guy for a while. They're about to get him, and we know what he is. We know exactly what he is.
He's a train.
He's a ground and pound. They're going to control that clock. They're going to keep Burrow off the field as much as possible. This, I think, personally, I don't think is going to be nearly as high as scoring as Brian thinks. I think this is going to be low. I think that it's really about clock management, getting him on the ground. I think that Derrick Henry's going to have a game of games. This is going to be his I'm in the playoffs, I'm going to show you what I'm about game. This will obviously set up the pass game. I don't think it will be as prevalent, but I think it will set it up. And so you will get some big plays, some junk plays, chunk yard plays that out of nowhere because people are going to be focusing on the run, obviously. If you control the clock, you keep Joe Burrow off the field. If you keep Joe Burrow off the field, the Tennessee Titans win this game. I do think they win it, and I think I'm going to put a points differential on this one. I do think they'll win this game by, I would say, a field goal, honestly. I think this is going to be close. I think Brian also had it at a field goal differential, but I think this is going to be low because this is going to be all about driving that clock down, getting Joe Burrow off the field, those really long drives, that kind of thing. This is going to be one of those kind of games where I think it may be a little boring, but I think it's exciting because this is going to be, you're going to see a lot of running. So it's going to be fun.
All right. Well, we both agree with that one. These games, Jeff, I don't know the last time I was this excited about every playoff matchup. I'm like, man, This is some good football. Tonight, Jeff, we got the Green Bay Packers at home, Lambeau Field, frozen tundra, 2 degrees with a wind chill factor in the negatives, playing Jimmy Garoppolo, sunshine boy out in California. They're nitty and gritty, this 49er team, Jeff. I tell you that. They run the ball well. The thing the Packers have struggled with the most is stopping the run. The Packers last time we played them, or the last time we played them in the playoffs, We ended up losing. Okay. Our run defense was atrocious. Our run defense is better. Our defense is better than it was last time we played them. And our offense seems to be on a roll. We're getting guys back. Zadarius Smith, our best pass rusher, will play tonight. David Bakhtiari will play tonight. Best left tackle in the NFL. We got him back last week. We haven't had him all year. You look at Jair Alexander, still questionable. I don't know if he goes, but our secondary has been really good this season. I got the Packers winning this game, Jeff. I think we were able to force Jimmy Garoppolo to make some mistakes. I think our offense is going to we're going to shred the secondary. That's the defensive weakness of the 49ers. They have a lot of penalties and pass interference, which the Cowboys didn't take advantage of. Aaron Rodgers will be able to exploit the secondary. Okay. I think the Packers win by 10 points. 30-20 tonight. Packers get the job done and move on again to the NFC Championship game.
I think that Jimmy Garoppolo will be the difference. No. I honestly, I think the Packers will win this. They're at home. Lambeau's a tough place to play. They have their fans. Obviously, it's going to be a hometown kind of game. They're not going to be this mix and match like it was the Cowboy game. I swear I heard more 49ers screaming at the Cowboy game. It just seemed weird to me, but I definitely do see the Packers having a great home field advantage. I think Aaron Rodgers is going to put up some major points. I do think the defense for the Packers are decent. I think that, but if it's a slugfest, I'll take Aaron Rodgers over Garoppolo any day. I think this might be a high scoring game. And I think that Jimmy G is going to be the difference as to why the 49ers lose. I think that he makes mistakes. I think that he will try to force something. And if he tries to force something, then that never really seems to work out. So, I mean, we saw it in the Cowboy game. There was an easy moment where he could have easily just threw the ball out and he forced something and they intercepted the ball and gave more life to the Cowboys. So, I will say Green Bay wins this by 7. And I could even see it be more. I could see them winning by 10. But I do think this is going to be a slugfest match. So prepare for a fun game. A lot of the people really like high scoring offensive games, and I think this might be one of those high scoring offensive games. But I think Jimmy G is the reason that the 49ers lose this game. Your mic's off.
I agree with you there, Jeff. It'll be a fun game, definitely. I invited my buddy Manuel Delgado, who is a 49ers fan, to come over. And we'll watch the game together. And the last couple times it's happened, the Packers have not won. So I told him if they lose tonight, he's never coming over again to watch the game. So
yeah, and it's tonight. It's gonna be. It's so weird because I would think this would be a prime. I mean, it's Sunday night, but still, or Saturday night. But I'm like, gosh, I thought this was gonna be like Sunday night, but it's kind of cool because actually, I think a lot of people can watch the game.
Yes, I'll be able to stay up and watch it. If it was on Sunday night, I would stay up and watch it regardless.
Well, yeah.
But all right, Jeff. Well, tomorrow we have at 2 p.m. we have the Rams and the Buccaneers, Jeff. And I have gone back and forth on this game multiple times. They're playing in Tampa. Whew. Jeff, why don't you start us off? I've started us off the last 2 times. You start us off here. I want to know who you got winning this game and why.
I have the LA Rams winning this game. I have the LA Rams winning this game, not because I don't like Tom Brady, not because I'm like, I'm sick of it. It's because I think that the Rams have the defensive weapons to get to Tom Brady. Tom Brady has a hard time under pressure. He has an extremely hard time trying to scramble and get out of it, whatever. He folds. I have seen this time and time again. when the Patriots would play the Broncos. As Von Miller and the Broncos defense became more and more and more prevalent in terms of pass rush, Tom Brady would have a very hard time. Von Miller has sacked him so many times. Tom Brady and Von Miller don't have a great relationship. And you're gonna release Miller on Tom Brady, and he usually does very well. He knows how to get into his head and mess around with Tom Brady, and he's gonna explain that to this defense. He's gonna explain how you can get to Tom Brady. Von Miller knows how to play against him. He's done it enough times. And has had some success. So I think that the Rams defense will play a role. I think this might actually be not a high scoring game, but not like, 10-14. I think this is going to be more in the 20s point differential, or in a point, not differential, but point spread. I think you're going to see a couple touchdowns, couple field goals. I think you're not going to see anything high scoring, because I just don't think that the defense for either side is going to allow that. So I think Rams win by 3, and it comes really late. It comes with maybe a strip sack. And then the Rams kind of eat some clock, go down, kick a field goal, win this game. I can see that. I can see Von Miller strip sacking. I could see even Donald strip sacking. But I can see something happening towards the end of that game that really changes it. But I think this is going to be kind of a slugfest defensively wise. And then whichever defense makes that stop at the end is going to win this game. And I think it's the Rams.
Well, Jeff, you really surprised me there. I thought you were going to go with the Bucks. I also have the Rams winning this football game. I have the Rams taking out the Bucks and Tom Brady. Look, trust me, it's hard for me to go against Tom Brady in the playoffs. It doesn't. you really probably end up on the wrong side of it. But you got to take into account a couple things here. The offensive line for the Bucks got hurt last week. Okay. The Rams' defensive front end is a beast. Their defensive front will get to Tom Brady. Tom Brady's also missing some wide receivers this game. They're injured. They're hurt. They're beat up. They don't have Antonio Brown no more. He does have Gronk. You got to find a way to stop him. But Von Miller, like Jeff said, is still kicking, still getting to quarterbacks. Darnold, you got Ramsey back there in the back end. I think the Rams offense has kind of come to life the last couple of weeks at the end of the season. They're having Odell Beckham throwing passes downfield. He's been a big weapon for them. I think the Rams do enough. I got the Rams winning this game 24-21. Close game. Last second field goal. Tom Brady probably gets a chance to come down the field and win, but I think strip sack, interception, something like that. It's going to be a defensive slugfest. Neither one of these teams allow the other teams to rush very well. It's going to be all on the quarterback. Can Matthew Stafford? Look, Jeff, I've already said this during the playoffs or before the playoffs started. Matthew Stafford will lose a game because of his interceptions. Is it going to be this week? Yeah. I don't know. It probably could. But I just think with the offensive line injuries and the ability on defense to get to Tom Brady, and we all know that's how you beat him. Now, can you get to him? I got the Rams winning this one close. So
yeah, and this could go either way, but I think the Rams are poised. I think they have too many pass rushers, which is the kryptonite to Tom Brady. Tom Brady, if you go man to man and you just let him take time, he'll pick you apart in 5 seconds. If you rush him, he doesn't. Once he starts breaking away from that pocket, he's origami. Like it's just you're not going to, you're not going to do it. He's not going to get it done that way, and so he's not that kind of quarterback either. So it's just I think they have too many weapons to allow to rush him and get him off. And once you get Tom Brady off, you'll know right away. And once Tom Brady starts, if he gets sacked a couple times, it's gonna be a long game. It'll be a long game for Tom Brady.
All right, Jeff. Well, we got one more game Sunday night, 5:30. Bills versus the Chiefs. This one, This one's going to be a slugfest, and I'm talking about an offensive slugfest. 40 points, like this game is set up to be a high scoring game for both teams. The defense is good for the Bills, and they've actually had the number one defense going into the playoffs. The Chiefs' defense has been a lot better since they first started out. The Bills surprised us last week, me and Jeff, dominating the Patriots. I think, if they beat the Patriots, okay, wasn't really a surprise. They dominated the Patriots and beat them by 30. Um, I have the Bills redeeming their loss last year. They lost the Chiefs in the playoffs. I think the Bills come in and get it done. I think Josh Allen is determined to win this game, especially, and take it to the next level. Patrick Mahomes, look, this team has been a little off this year. They went on an 8-game winning streak and then they lost again, and they've been up and down. I think the Bills exploit that. I think the Bills Singletary played really well last week against the Patriots, who usually don't allow someone to rush us that good. Josh Allen gets the job done this week, Jeff. It's going to be a high scoring game. I have the Bills winning 38-34 in the tough stadium, but might be where we see Josh Allen take his next step, Jeff.
I want to say I agree. I think that it's going to be a close game. I think that I have this feeling that Mahomes may pull something off at the end, or the defense may pull something off at the end. I think Kansas City wins this, but I think they win it close, like you have the score in. Point differential, I will say about 3 points. Seems like that's the normal thing for the Chiefs this year. They win close games a lot. They typically are always in close games, and when you have a close game with Patrick Mahomes, I think it's going to be a struggle. I would be very happy for the Bills to take them out. Trust me. But I will say I think that the Chiefs will do something to win this game. Next week, totally different story. That's if the Chiefs win. So I think right now I take the Chiefs, but close, and I don't trust it. I know I know I may regret that pick, but I will say this much. I think this round they move on. Yes.
Well, all right, guys, that is our predictions for this weekend, the playoffs, and hopefully your brackets aren't ruined. Our brackets have ruined week one. My championship team, my championship that I suggested was Green Bay versus Tennessee. So that could still happen. We will see though. Let us know, guys, if you think we're completely wrong. Let us know if you think anything different than we have here, and you probably do, because that's how football goes. Coin flip away, and a lot of these games that we just talked about are coin flips. I would like to think the Packers and 49ers aren't, but the 49ers are a tough team, and I'm going to give them give them respect. But I think Packers win, and I'm excited for tonight. You get a little anxious, but I'm excited.
I have one more thing. I just want to bring this. I don't. We didn't have this on the thing, but I want to bring this up because it's interesting. So there's there's the ownership stuff's going on with the Broncos right now. It's kind of insane. We're hearing a lot of crazy stories and a lot of people's names being thrown around. But I think we talked about it last week. But there's some updates on it. And so there's a particular guy who's, I think he's actually a resident here. He's I think his net worth is like $6.7 billion. And so it's actually kind of interesting because he's an African American guy, which is kind of interesting because I didn't know that, but there's never actually been an African American owner in the NFL. It's been 101 years history in the NFL, and it's never happened, which is kind of crazy.
Yeah, I didn't know that either.
I didn't either. And so His estimated net worth is $6.7 billion. The Broncos are, according to Forbes, and according to Forbes, this person he's the richest African American person in the United States, at 59. But the Broncos on sale could fetch a record of $4 billion. So this is going to be one of the richest team sales in U.S. sports history. It's a massive deal. And I'm going to quote this. And according to Woody Page, who is a sports writer for the Denver Gazette, according to him, he's saying, quote, there are 6 groups seeking the Broncos, including 2 with Super Bowl winning quarterback Peyton Manning, one group, John Elway, another group. Brittany Bolin is also one of the people in a group, and she is the daughter, one of the daughters of the late Broncos owner, Pat Bolin, which is very interesting. Brittany Bolin's been talked about for many, many years of owning this team. And I think she's going to be a part of a group, which is kind of interesting because technically that would actually work. She couldn't single-handedly own it, but she could own it as part of a group. And these are all reportedly readying a bid to purchase this team. This is going to be pretty crazy. It says outside of Bezos, this guy that is being talked about, which I think his name is Robert F. Smith. They're saying that Smith is likely to have more cash on hand than Elway, Manning, and also there's a name being thrown around is Jay-Z. Jay-Z is involved with sports all the time. I think he's involved with a lot of baseball players. Robinson Cano, for example, he was a part of that and lured him outside of New York. I think he's a part of LeBron James, maybe. I don't know if LeBron James is tied to him or not, as an agent, but he's dabbled in sport agency in the past. And so has thought about owning a team at some point. So it says, with all that being said, Smith, who is this Stephen or the guy that we were talking about just a second ago, Robert F. Smith, he has more money than all of these people. And so he would need to spend at least $1.2 billion of if the team goes on sale for $4 billion, since the NFL requires a principal ownership to put up at least 30% of the purchase price in cash.
Straight cash, homie.
Straight up cash. No assets or anything. We're talking about $1.2 billion in a suitcase.
Couple suitcases.
Oh God. So Smith, he's an entrepreneur. He has a couple of businesses here. I think one of them is a equity firm, and everything else. So it's actually kind of interesting. The one thing that really surprises me is the fact that Brittany Bolin is part of this. A lot of locals really want Brittany Bolin to be a part of the Broncos ownership. And my question is if Brittany Bolin is involved in some way, shape, or form, is Brittany Bolin part of a group that consists of Peyton Manning? Is Brittany Bolin part of a group that consists of John Elway? And if this Robert F. Smith is involved, is Robert F. Smith going in on his own, or is he going to be a part of one of these groups? And that's the big question. If Robert Smith is part of one of these groups, whoever has him, they have a huge, huge advantage of taking ownership of this team, because whoever is involved, whether it's Peyton Manning, John Elway, or Brittany Bolin, even if she has her own group, somebody is going to be in there with the big money pockets to get this done. But because it's not going to be Brittany Bolin, and it's not going to be John Elway on their own, and it's not going to be Peyton Manning on his own. They don't have that kind of money. So the question is, who is going to be flipping the bill on this? And if he's involved with one of these groups, that's a massive advantage because this guy has the money. Peyton Manning may have some of it, but he doesn't have all of it. He doesn't have 1.2 billion. John Elway doesn't have 1.2 billion, and Brittany Bolin doesn't have 1.2 billion. So this is going to be very cool to see who owns this team. I am glad that I'm seeing names that actually mean something. I know I'm not hearing. You hear names of Jeff Bezos. I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think that's true. You hear Jay-Z. I don't think that's true either. I don't think Jay-Z would care about the market in Colorado area. I think that he's more of like, let's go to LA, let's go to New York. Let's high profile markets. I don't think that I would even say, I mean, even though he wouldn't own the Cowboys, I would even say maybe even Dallas. But so the fact that I'm hearing Robert F. Smith, who's a Denver native, which is awesome.
Yeah.
He's going to do well with the team. Peyton Manning, which he's also moved to Denver. Denver is like his home now, as much as it pains Indianapolis fans. And then you hear John Elway, he's good. And Brittany Bolin. Brittany Bolin was the daughter of the owner. She was supposed to be in line to own the team. So that's another good step. This is heading in the direction that I'm hoping. And I'm hoping that either Robert F. Smith is part of one of these groups or he's involved and leading one of these groups. And if that's the case, the Broncos are headed in a good direction ownership wise. And I really do think by the time we figure out the coaching situation, which I'm assuming we're going to probably hear something in the next week or so, we're going to hear about the ownership really quickly after that. And about a week or two after that, I think they'll start bidding processes and we'll start actually hearing who's part of these groups. And whoever this dude's a part of, they're probably going to own the team. Honestly, that's a lot of money to be thrown around. It's the richest ownership acquisition in sports history at $4 billion estimation. It's a massive deal. This is huge, huge, huge news for the city of Denver and the team of the Broncos. It shows their value, and I can't imagine what an ownership of another team would be that has a higher value. I couldn't imagine what the Cowboys would be worth as somebody trying to own a team. Even the Packers. I mean, if you think if the Packers ever went like we're gonna have a single owner, I couldn't imagine how much money they would go for. That's a massive market. And NFL is a huge, huge organization, a multi-billion-dollar organization, and these teams are, it's gonna just print money. These teams print money. You got these ticket sales and these TV deals and all these things. So
the
it's
least
exciting.
was it last? I think it was last year or the year before. I think it was last year. The team that made the least amount of money were the Oakland Raiders, they were still in Oakland, and they still profited $30 million. So, yes, the NFL prints money. They know they print money. They own sports,
And they want
in
more
general.
money. They want sports booking.
Yeah, yeah, they want more money. When you look at this year, Jeff, over the top rated 100 television shows on TV, 91 of them are all football games. 91. So they know we watch. They know we can't do without football, and they make a lot of money. So,
oh yeah. Man, this is a juggernaut, and it makes me feel good that the organization is at a value of that, and as a fan, you want your team to have value, and it shows that. I think it shows clearly. I mean, $4 billion is no joke. It's a lot of money, and the fact that they sold for that are potentially selling for that in terms of actual market value is pretty insane. And so it's exciting. I'm very curious to see the ownership. It's exciting because we're actually getting a new ownership for an actual football team. Like, this doesn't happen as often. It's kind of rare. Typically, people exchange them within family. Like Jerry Jones, he's going to probably pass it down to his son. Tony Khan, or not Tony Khan, but the Khan family in Jacksonville. More than likely, Tony Khan's going to be ownership when his father either passes away or is not capable of running the team anymore. And so it's just you don't see it often, and it's kind of interesting, especially a long running family owning a team. The Bolin family's been at the ownership of this team since the 80s. So it's a very long time that they've been in control, and it's pretty cool. I'm just excited to see who the owner is and the changes that they may make. So,
all right, Jeff. Well, that's gonna wrap up this episode. We're gonna ask the important question: what's in your locker?
oh man. Okay. Work. My last day at my old job is Monday. My new job starts Tuesday. I'm going through like a training process. I think I found that out today. So my hours actually are a little different, drastically different. So like I would be going in at 9, uh, compared to waking up at 5, and going in at 6. So, and then I think I get off at 6. So, it's a different thing to get used to, but it's a training thing, and so it's I think it's only for about a week or so, and typically training is usually about a week or so, and then I would start. Going in at I think a more regular, normal hour, or maybe even hours that maybe I see that work better for my schedule. Um, Other than that, watching the playoffs games, getting excited. I probably will pay attention a lot to the Green Bay game today. I want to see what they do. Um, I want to see if the Packers can get. And plus, I'm also watching, Green Bay because I want to see, see Rodgers, see a potential player for the Broncos at some point, maybe. So I want to see how he handles pressure, how he handles all this stuff, and see how they do it. Um, so I'm watching a few. That's really the one game I want to watch. Obviously, the other one would be Tennessee. I want to see how Tennessee handles the Bengals. Um, I will kind of maybe glance in at the Chief game. I may not watch that fully, but it's exciting to watch some of there's a lot of good football going on. I don't think there's a whole lot of just nothing or crap. So it's going to be fun to watch. These are exciting games, exciting teams. So that's one thing. And then I've been playing some MLB The Show, trying to do Road to the Show. I'm actually slowly picking away at the platinum on that game. I don't know why. A lot of it's actually kind of easy. Win a home run derby, go to the World Series and road in March, October. Get called up in the majors for Road to the Show. That's a little harder, I think, but it takes a little time. But other than that, yeah, I've just been chilling out. Works my former job's been pretty cool. I think they liked that I gave them the 2-week transition. I think that really helps them out. I think they're going to do some kind of pizza thing on Monday to kind of send me off, and I'll probably get the half day off at that point. So they'll at lunchtime they'll probably say you can go home if you want. And then yeah, so I'm ready to start this process with this other place. I think what's really interesting is that they seem very excited, based on the emails I'm getting, and based on the fact that a company as big as them are allowing me, even after training, to kind of mold my schedule to what works for me, which is kind of insane. You don't really get that. So, especially in a corporate thing, it's usually that you're in this time, you're out this time. So that's cool. That's kind of it. We're just been chilling out, watching shows. We've been just relaxing. We may run a couple errands today. I think I gotta take something back to a store, but other than that, just having a chill weekend before I start this new chapter. And I think what's exciting is that when it starts, it's going to pave the way for other opportunities in my career. So it's a huge career step that ultimately has all benefits and very few negatives. So that's my locker. What's in your locker?
All right, man. Awesome. Yeah, just a chill weekend this week. Of watching chill weekend of watching football. Excited about that. I got a buddy coming over, like I said earlier. Um, which just work, man. We got our W-2s in, so we got obviously the tax time is a great time when you're getting money back from the government. So we'll see how much we got. We're planning on a vacation in June. We're planning to go, just me and the wife and our friend Amber and her son, going to Disney World in Florida, Harry Potter World, and to the beach down there. So we're just kind of working that out and getting a little excited about that. So, um, speaking of watching television shows, I've already caught up all on Yellowstone. I'm watching the Yellowstone 1883, the prequel, and so far I've just got to the first episode. It's like an hour and 10 minutes. It's really good. It's got Tim McGraw in there and some good actors. And then Ozark is back, baby. Season 4, part 1. It's season 4, episode 1. There's this part 2 of episode 1 as well. I've only got about 30 minutes into that last night before I had to go and lay down with the kiddos. So I've been watching those. Ozark is one of my favorite. If you guys have not watched it, you have to, it's a must. Jason Bateman, the acting job they do in there is just fantastic. The storyline, all the drama, great show. Other than that, Jeff, that is pretty much it. I've been trying to work on my Great Dane and getting him trained up, and he's crazy. He's 4 months old, just running around the house like a horse. But other than that, that's what's in my locker this week. We got got work next week, and kudos to you, man. And I'm pretty sure you're excited to start on your new job.
Yeah, it's exciting. Using the money from the degree and actually being able to apply that is very exciting. That just shows that with some dedication and some hard work, you can get to where you want to be, or where you think you should be. And so I think that's what's exciting about it. It's applying all that knowledge I learned and applying it to a real job and getting paid to do it, which is nuts. It may change a few things about the show.
That's all right.
I know it says Tuesdays and Fridays. We may have to start doing it on Saturday mornings like this. Just because the way my schedule might be, I may be coming home later on Friday than I normally would be. So we may have to figure that out. But other than that, yeah, it's just exciting, man. Like, it's such a big opportunity. It's so difficult to try to pass this up. It changes everything. It makes it to where we can leave this apartment, and get something else that's bigger, and and just it starts a new chapter career wise. And I thought it would not happen. I thought I'm just gonna have to sell for something, and just go to an office and just not really do what I did. And it was tough to come to grips with that a little bit, because I was getting a little stale at my other job, and it was just kind of like, all right, I'm getting a little bored with this now. So, but when this popped up, I was just like, I have to try, and so I tried. So yeah, it's fun, man. I'm excited. They're excited. It's going to be a little bit transition because we in the house have been used to me going in, waking up at 5 and going in, and then getting off at 2:30. So it's a totally different thing now. So I'm getting home a little later. But I'm going in a little later. So
Right.
that's the plus. I get to wake up and actually spend a morning with my wife, as opposed to me getting up and she's still asleep. So that's kind of fun. I like that because it helps, I think it makes the day go by a little easier. Because sometimes when I leave, she hasn't woken up yet. So it's kind of, sometimes I don't see her in the morning, but yeah, man, I'm excited for it. I'm ready to start this chapter, ready to get the ball rolling on it, because once I get through this training, which I'm glad they do, because throwing me into the flames already, like from the get go, would be scary. So kind of transitioning me in is nice, because
Yeah.
I'm sure they have a system, and I'm sure they have different things that they do that I have to kind of come accustomed to and everything. So, but yeah, man, it's exciting, and I'm ready. I'm ready for this. I'm ready for this to start.
I bet. Well, that's awesome, and congrats again, man. And that's about it for this episode, my man. We got playoff football. We'll see what happens. I'll be on Tuesday to kind of go over the games, and then we'll jump on maybe next week. We'll figure that out. If things change, we'll let you know. But hopefully, it's a cheerful Tuesday, not me being depressed, because if Green Bay doesn't make it out of this round, I'm gonna be a little depressed.
Yeah, I'll be catching an eye, that's for sure, to see what's going on, 'cause, not
Yeah,
to
you guys.
expect I expect Green Bay to win, but,
Yeah,
I would be very surprised if they didn't, yeah,
yeah.
I would.
Check in on me, guys, later if they don't win. So, but all right, guys. Well, that's been it this week. We've it's been a great week here, other than the cold. It's getting a little bit warmer, which is fantastic.
Yeah.
I hate the cold weather. I could not live in Green Bay.
Dude, I love it.
Um,
I love it, dude.
but yeah, that's about it, brother man. Game starts 3:30. We'll put this up before the game comes out and starts, and then it's just football, football, football.
Yep. So, take care, everyone. Enjoy the football, enjoy the playoffs. We'll catch you next week and kind of break down everything. And it's just enjoy it because we got some good games coming. And honestly, it sets it up for an awesome championship round and an awesome Super Bowl. So can't argue.
Can't argue. And I think the Super Bowl halftime show will be pretty good this year. So
I think so too.
all right, guys. Y'all take care and God bless.
Bye.